The Auburn Tigers add another quarterback.
You are Locked On Auburn, your daily podcast on the Auburn Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into Locked On Auburn, your daily Auburn Tigers podcast. I'm your host, Zach Blackerby, and thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. It's a War Rapport Wednesday. Mike G of the War Rapport hanging out with us. We'll talk about TJ Rushing being hired as safeties coach, but we got to start with quarterbacks. Tanner Bailey. It's official. We've talked about it even on this morning show. Like, it's kind of been, we've heard rumblings for forever about him coming out of retirement. The former South Carolina quarterback transferred to Auburn just to be a student, Mike, just to be a student a year ago. And I guess his coaching staff talked him back into the game, and he's presumed going to be Auburn's fourth quarterback this year.
A good move for him. Look, I hope there was a scholarship behind that. If he came just to be a student, he got that semester paid for. But look, Auburn lost their entire quarterback room. Very unusual situation, I think, for any program, Zach, which means you lose some critical practice roles. And you need somebody to run that scout team. And here's a guy with a lot of college football practice experience that can come in and add value there. Look, I mean, there's a lot of value in having a guy who can be highly competitive on that scout team and provide some competition for your first team in practice. I think Tanner Bailey does that for you. So it's just good. It's a good move for him. Good move for Auburn.
Yeah, you're in a weird spot based off of the guys that you brought in. So, like, obviously, Deuce Knight's going to be a true freshman, and then Jackson Arnold has multiple years left of eligibility. And so, I mean, we had this conversation about when they brought in Ashton Daniels, who's like not a great quarterback in the grand scheme of things, but a pretty solid backup one. He's like, okay, cool. You've got a veteran guy with 1 year left who's okay being a backup. Like, that's kind of unique. That's kind of unusual. And then, like, when you lose Walker, it's like, okay, well, now we've got to do that again, but you even have less to offer. And it's like, hey, we need you to run practice. Come on, help us, just get through the season and be kind of the fourth guy, maybe a mentor for some of these guys. That's an even less compelling pitch. And, I mean, how lucky are they that they have a former SEC quarterback just on campus as a student? And they were able to make the most of that opportunity. Like, I think this is a really cool situation. Tanner Bailey's not going to see the field in a relevant role, maybe in backup duty and things like that. If he's a lifelong Auburn fan, like it's been reported, they may give him that in like a homecoming game or something, and that'd be really cool for Tanner, you'd have to think. But in a situation where you needed a really specific quarterback that probably isn't the most appealing option, you're able to get a solid one. And I think that's going to fly under the radar a little bit, but this was tricky, and I think they nailed it.
Yeah, no chance he sees the field in any real action this year. Look, if you're Hugh Freeze, you're in a position, hear me out, Zach, where you don't really have competition to offer this year. You have roles, right? You have Jackson Arnold, who's your starter, right? You have a backup role to offer Ashton Daniels and break glass in case of emergency type role. And you've got Deuce Knight, who is hopefully your heir apparent.
Your future.
He's your future at quarterback. And you've offered him a role where he can sit and develop. Now, he's got to develop. And I think this is where Auburn went wrong with Walker White. There wasn't enough development from that third spot, right? So if you're not getting that and you're consistently going to the portal to get guys who have more experience than you, how do you get to your talented freshmen? Right? That kid's got to feel like he's developing. That's what Deuce's role is going to be, to add competition and practice, but also to learn the system and develop so that when next year comes, he's unseating somebody. And I struggle with this, Zach, because it feels like when you look at Clemson and you look at Alabama and you look at some of the other programs that have won at a high level in college football, their highly regarded senior and junior QBs are getting unseated by talented freshmen. It's happening, right? I mean, you're seeing it happen. And so it's got to start happening at Auburn here. I think Hugh Freeze has to figure that out. So again, I'll repeat this. You don't have competition to offer. You have roles to offer. Jackson Arnold is your starter. Ashton Daniels is your backup. Deuce Knight is your future. Tanner Bailey is your practice squad guy.
Yeah, and I'm sure they want Deuce to win the backup job from Ashton. Like, I'm sure that's been discussed. How likely is that? I don't know. I mean, Ashton's not going through spring. Deuce is. Like, go get it. Go get it. I mean, Deuce has a prime opportunity to get a ton of snaps this spring, and he doesn't have to worry about Tanner Bailey breathing down his neck. And to me, I think that is crucial.
That's a good point, though, about the spring, because it will just be Jackson essentially and Deuce this spring, right? So if you're Deuce
and Tanner Bailey.
In Tanner Bailey, but you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Get your head in the playbook now. The reason you won't see the field is, again, that lack of experience. And everything I've heard about Deuce Knight during the recruiting process is super talented, but he's a project, right? And you can make yourself less of a project this spring by just understanding this system. We do these film breakdowns on our channel, and Ike talks about it. Hugh Freeze's system is not an easy system for quarterbacks to absorb, man. You really have to get in your playbook, man, and understand these concepts and what they do. I think it's part of why we saw confusion between Peyton Thorne and Hugh Freeze this year. And Peyton is a very high football IQ guy. So, Deuce, you got to get in the playbook, man. And if he can do that, I'm confident that the ability is there. But in the meantime, you have Jackson Arnold, who should be able to pick things up quickly and move this thing forward.
So all in all, Auburn lands Tanner Bailey, and I think he checks the boxes. I think he's a solid fourth quarterback in kind of a tricky situation. I think they got it done. So hats off to the staff, and I hope Tanner's excited. That's got to be kind of cool. Hey, Auburn announced a new safeties coach, TJ Rushing, a familiar name. Our thoughts on it next. They're good in just a moment, right here on Locked On Auburn. Today's show brought to you by our friends at Rocket Money. Mike G, you talk about Rocket Money on Locked On UCF. I mean, it's amazing when you use this product and you see all of the subscriptions that you're still paying for, but not necessarily using. Take control of your money. Rocket Money can help you do that.
They can. And you know what? Rocket Money found out that I was paying for 4 music subscriptions. All redundant. I definitely canceled 2 of them. So now I'm down to Apple Music and Spotify. I don't even know where the other one came from.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, we when we first used it, I had an Amazon Prime subscription and Leah had an Amazon Prime subscription, like both from before we got married, and we combined everything, and we're like, oh, we both still have one. We don't need 2 of these. So yeah, download the Rocket Money app or go to rocketmoney.com/lockedon to save plenty of money in 2025. Thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first or second listen every single day. So Auburn put out the official graphics earlier today. TJ Rushing announced as safeties coach. And to me, I think this is a solid addition. He was the special assistant to the head coach a year ago. This is a guy who, his time at Texas A&M overlapped with DJ Durkin. So he and DJ Durkin already have a relationship, which I think is important. And he's familiar with what they did on defense a year ago, just because he was already here and part of the program. So it makes sense. This move makes sense to me.
Yeah. Look, when you want things done your way, promote from within. And I think that DJ Durkin has a great system. I thought we saw a lot of great development on the defensive side of the ball. If you want to keep that going, who better than a guy like TJ Rushing? But I'll tell you what else I love about TJ. These 2000s former pro guys, I love them. They're not that far removed from major level football, and they have a chance to be able to connect with kids. I'm interested to see what he does out on the recruiting trail and how he can. I mean, he's got a Super Bowl ring.
Yeah, with the Colts.
He's got a Super Bowl ring. So wear that thing, TJ, into those recruits' living rooms, showing what they can do from Auburn. This is great. I think continuity is important in any program from a coaching standpoint if you want to be consistently winners. And promoting from within is the best way to do that. I think what we've seen over on the offensive side is maybe Philip Montgomery and Hugh Freeze weren't on the same page, and it made me wonder, okay, why bring them in here? If they're not going to be on the same page. On the defensive side of the ball, don't start that. Just get guys who want it done your way and know what you want done. And look, it worked. Top 25 defense clearly for Auburn last year. They were the bright spot on this team. They gave Auburn a chance to win every single game last year. It was incredible to watch. Even that Iron Bowl, man, despite the score, they produced 4 turnovers in that game.
Yeah, they gave us a shot for sure. For sure. In fact, if you would have told me the defensive stats going into that game, I probably would have said we won. So
yeah.
But I'm with you. And on defense, it all starts and ends with DJ Durkin. And we've talked about this like with the portal. Like if DJ Durkin wants you to be a part of his defense, okay, like I trust you. Especially like with the linebacker position. There's been a few guys where I'm like, this guy seems fine at his previous stop. But if DJ Durkin made you a priority, like he has earned our trust at this point. Like you can say what you want about certain members of the coaching staff and over the past 2 years and all that. DJ Durkin has earned our trust as far as guys that if he wants you, whether it's a player or a coach, it's fine with me. It's fine with me. So TJ Rushing, welcome to being an on-field coach here for the Auburn Tigers.
Hard not to trust the process on Durkin's side, right?
Yeah.
Developing not only players but coaches as well too. And again, in my download, all I've heard are great things about what it's like to play on that side of the ball and work on that side of the ball.
Yeah, for sure.
So they're doing some, I know you probably heard the characterizations of defensive practice, organized, just a well-oiled machine over there. And TJ Rushing was a part of that process.
At A&M. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be fun to watch. I think it's gonna be fun to watch. How they continue to dominate on defense. Auburn's got a very promising defensive outlook for 2025. And look, they're gonna need them. They're gonna need them. They're gonna need TJ Rushing to do what he can there with the safeties. And so I'm excited. I'm excited to watch it all unfold.
Yeah, I think so. And they got a lot of young, talented guys in that room too. Just a quick bio, and we've kind of touched on it, but just a chronological order. Played at Stanford. Got into the NFL, played most of his career with the Colts. I think he played with the Lions as well. Then as a coach, Arizona State grad assistant, did a few jobs at Arizona State. Then Northern Arizona cornerbacks coach, got on the field there. And then made it back to Arizona State to coach DBs. Went to Memphis for 2 seasons, a DB coach. Then made the jump to Texas A&M DBs, and then came to Auburn last year, special assistant to Hugh Freeze. And then obviously he's got this role now. So solid trending up for TJ Rushing. So you love to see that. So we'll see what that means as far as the recruiting trail. But like you said, he hasn't been out of it that long. I got a feeling he's going to be able to connect with a lot of these guys. Mike G, how can people check out everything that you've got going on?
You already know the deal, Zach. Going over to the War Rapport and subscribe. Got lots of great stuff going on there. My guy Kyle Rush from the barn joined me this morning to talk a little bit about the Tanner Burns circus. And so we covered that one. Also, go check me out on Locked On UCF. We are burning it up over at Locked On UCF, part of the Locked On Network, just like Locked On Auburn. So please go subscribe. Help us hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of the month.
Yeah, you're getting close. Go give them some love for sure. Please like the video. Please subscribe, and we'll see you next time.